Welcome to BlackUSA.news morning show. I'm your host, William Honolulu Jr. Join us as we explore the news and opinions that impact our community. We break down how the major stories have a very personal, local, and racial impact. No topic is off limits, but even if the conversation gets rough, we're always going to keep it real.
People out there in internet land, this is William Honolulu Jr., and I have the privilege and the honor of serving as the host of the Black USA News morning show. Welcome to this Friday, March 4th, 2022, this fourth day of Women's History Month, and there's a lot of stuff happening today. Wow, it's National Day of Unplugging. Well, I'm not doing that because my livelihood relies on the internet, so I'm not going to be unplugging. But if you find it difficult to contact some people or get in touch with them today, maybe they are unplugging, taking a break from the whole interwebs and everything. Today is also National Employee Appreciation. If you are an employee, we appreciate you. We're happy for what you do, and because of you, the rest of us can do what we do. And if you have employees, make sure you do something kind. You should be kind all the time, by the way, but today especially so. All right. Today is also National Safety Day, World Day of Prayer. I think that's really important to make sure that you stay anchored in whatever deity you believe in or whatever spirituality. Just stay anchored. I found that it makes a lot of difference in life. Let's see what else. Oh, and today is National Sun Day. Sun's Day, and I want to say a big shout out and I love you to my boys, Timothy Zion Honolulu and William Honolulu III. And I also want to say a big shout out to all the sons around. And big shout out to my dad. He passed away 4 years ago, but I'm grateful to have been his son. So pretty cool. So National Sun Day. If you have a son, make sure you show them a little bit of extra love today. So enjoy that. As always, big shout out and thank you to Kyle Crazy Horse Morgan, the super producer that keeps us focused, keeps us on point, and ensures that we have the resources necessary to bring you the quality of show that you deserve. So big up to him. And you know who we got to talk about now. We got to talk about the people who make this possible. Our sponsors. So first and foremost, thank you, Edible Arrangements, for not just sponsoring the show, but having amazing fruit and great candy covering it. You all know what I love, the pineapple dove covered in white chocolate. And look, this is the way that it comes to you. It's DoorDash. You can get it when you want it, and it's beautiful, and it shows up exactly the way you need. So if you want to celebrate something, you want something that beautiful to come to you, make sure that you hit up Edible Arrangements in Baltimore, in Randallstown, and also in Pittsburgh. And big shout out to Brandy for making sure that I got that through DoorDash. Murphy Falcone and Murphy. Judge Murphy has been engaging and fighting for the Black community my entire adult life. From the bench as a jurist, from an advocate as a lawyer, and he's put a firm together that really shares that value. So Murphy Falcone and Murphy, if you find yourself on the wrong side of a civil situation, or if you believe that the government is doing something that they shouldn't be doing or needs to do something to support your community that they're not, make sure you give Murphy Falcone and Murphy a call. Worst case scenario, they won't be able to help you and they can refer you to somebody who can. Best case scenario, they can give you some information that changes the entire trajectory of your life. So if your life turns in, you find yourself in circumstances, I should say, where you have criminal charges, you want to give the Warrior Lawyer a call. J. Wendell Gordon is the Warrior Lawyer. And it's not just, they don't just call him the Warrior Lawyer because it sounds good. They call him that because he fights for his clients and he wins. If you are interested in seeing what the Warrior Lawyer can do, just jump online and Google him. He's been in the game long enough that he still has an AOL address. So make sure that you hit the Warrior Lawyer up if you have a situation or circumstance in the criminal space that you need help with. Big shout out to the team over at STEM City USA Dr. Tyrone Taborn has put together an amazing group of people who are doing the damn thing and just really ensuring that the Black community does not get left behind as technology moves forward. And I'm grateful to be able to partner with SimCity USA, especially because I got to be the first Black media professional to stream in the metaverse. Oh, so wonderful. And so I'm really grateful for the opportunity that presented it, and all the things that Dr. Tyrone Taborn and his staff do, from the Black Engineer of the Year Awards to personal mentorship, just all of it. So if you are not familiar with the metaverse and want a really safe and comfortable entry point, make sure you stop by STEM City USA to let them help you get your tech up. Newest sponsor, the book I Am Black Wall Street by Donnie Glover. Donnie takes this scholarship in a different direction. He doesn't just look at what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and how it was destroyed. He looks at the fact that Tulsa wasn't the only Black Wall Street. And so he talks a little bit about the other Black Wall Streets, but then he focuses a lot of the research on how they got to Black Wall Street. How they made it there. And in some places, it serves as a really good model for what we can do next as a community. And he also has given out over 1,800 Black Wall Street awards to business professionals and advocates and artists all throughout the country, actually all throughout the world. And here's a picture of Ashley Tate, our very own Ashley Tate, winning her Black Wall Street Award for the work that she's done in the community. Now, we're talking about my company here. We talk about the Grinding Gang. My company is designed to help you figure out what to do with all of the information so you can make those decisions that help move your business to the next level. There's a lot of times where we're figuring out what information is out there or what to do with the information that's out there. At the Grinding Gang, we have a bunch of a bunch of professionals and a bunch of subject matter experts. And I say a bunch because that number is always changing. We find so many incredible people that want to be part of the team. So we have the experience to make sure that you don't have to make the same mistakes that we've made. You can benefit from our knowledge. So we have a lot of resources for free because it's really important that we give back and invest in our community. So make sure that you stop by the Grinding Gang website and so that you can take your business to the next level. And I am very, 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 there's a lot of berries, right? Excited about my next opportunity to go get some food from Darker Than Blue Grill. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait. I'm excited. Still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm comfortable that I'm going to do the hamburger, but that cowboy prime rib is like, I keep thinking about it. It's like, yeah, I might need to do that again. But, I could do both, but that's crazy. Oh, y'all, I'm as excited about it as you all are to figure out what's going to happen, because I got to tell you, I don't know anymore. That's one of the things that happens when you find some place that you enjoy. When you find some good food, you don't know what you're just going to eat and what you're not. I mean, well, maybe you all do. I don't, because I let the spirit move me. I don't come in there with expectation. Well, I do. You know what? I'm going to stop talking, because every time I say something, I'm like, no, that's not true. That's not true. Oh, today, after about an hour after our show ends, Donnie Glover is going to have the Maryland State Conference of the NAACP covering their meetings and the things that are happening. So at noon today, log back on to BlackUSA.news or on Facebook or YouTube so you can keep up and find out what the NAACP is doing in Maryland and how you can get involved. Last night, Doug Blackshear had an amazing show. Doug out of Oakland. Big up, Doug. With a virtual cornucopia. I'm trying to get my vocabulary words in there every once in a while. Cornucopia of guests, including BlackUSA.news' own Kamal Hubbard of Black Crypto News that airs on Friday, just talking about how we can stay prepared and make sure that we don't get left behind. It was an amazing conversation with a lot of different people. So if you didn't see that, make sure you go and check out his show. We are doing amazing things here at Black USA News. I want to give a big shout out to Donnie and his leadership. We are up to 7-day-a-week programming. multiple hours every day, bringing you all incredible people from the community so that you all can get to know. So I love what I do. Amens, amens, amens. Yesterday we had an amazing conversation with Dr. Michelle Talbert Horsey about what it's like navigating through being a Black woman in this place and space in 2022. And she talked to us about how important her son is and her family relationships, and how it sometimes is difficult to try to balance between your family relationships and your professional desires. And sometimes they don't match out. You have to make choices. And, we talked a lot about that. And so you all, if you missed that, go ahead and check that out. It was a great conversation. But we're going to continue in that vein today. March is our month of Black women. And today is no different. Today we get a chance to talk to Knicole Mosby-Taylor. I'm sorry, I'm excited and stuff. We're going to talk to her, and we're going to find out what it's like to be a Black woman. What does that look like in her space? How does she navigate the roles? And how does she deal with her desire? How does she balance her desire to give back with her desire to be an entrepreneur? So we're going to touch on a lot of it, but let me make sure you all remember for those of you all who are new, let's talk a little bit about what the morning show's month of women. Let me find that. Oh, there we go.
Dear Shanae and Simone, as you move through life as Black women, you will have a very unique experience. In many cases, you will be asked or expected to serve in roles that weren't clearly explained, nor did you really agree to. Over the course of my life, I have met some amazing women who have navigated some of the spaces that you will encounter. I want my village to share with you their stories of trials and successes to help provide a foundation to understand your power to choose the woman that you will become and the strength that you can find in your sisters. This series of shows is my gift to you. The women you will hear from are phenomenal. They come from different backgrounds and have chosen different paths for their lives. Each represents a facet of the Black woman experience. Some of the stories may not align with your journey directly, but those stories are even more important. By listening closely, you can learn about uncommon experiences and find ways to support your sisters along your shared journey. I love you all so much, and I hope to see you soon.
So that's what we're doing this month. This is the month of Black women, a celebration of amazing Black women, and the ones that I know especially. I know they're amazing, and today is no doubt is no different than any other. I have the opportunity to introduce you, some of you, because some of you already know her, Knicole Mosby-Taylor. She has a nonprofit, a for-profit. She's starting a health services business, and all of it focuses around empowering women. She'll tell you about her story, because you know what? That's the whole purpose of this week. So I'm going to bring Knicole on right now. Hey!
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being here. Like I told, we talked about before, this is a really big deal for me, this series of shows, because they really kind of set the stage, I hope, for some of the experiences of my goddaughters later in life. So start you off the way that we've been starting off. So let's say that there is a alien that comes to the planet Earth. And it's like, I'm trying to understand all of you humans, and the alien meets you, and the alien says, all right, Knicole, tell me, what is it like? Describe to me about being a Black woman. How would you answer the alien's question?
Describe to me about being a Black woman. Empowering, tiring, but something that only a Black woman could understand, if that makes sense.
Okay. Is it like it's such a...
the being is something that only a Black woman could understand.
Okay. So is it like your experiences are unique enough that there needs to be someone with a similar experience who can even understand what's going on?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
As I was sharing with you, with my Empowered Women in Business International organization, we actually started that organization because we wanted to create a network of women together, a sisterhood of women who would come together and be able to understand um, each other's issues as
Hmm.
well as celebrate each other's successes, because
Right.
it's you find it it's difficult sometimes to actually find someone that is able to celebrate each other's issues, celebrate each other's successes at sometimes.
That is absolutely true. One of the things that
I'm sorry, can we pause for a second? So
no,
we
but that's the thing. Like, it's okay to have that's what I'm trying to get across to my goddaughters. It's okay to have divided attention. The world wants you to show up like, oh, you can do all of these things singularly at the highest level of performance. But that has never been true for anything else except Black women. Somehow it is expected of you, like you need to be the number one athlete and cook dinner and you know, do your man or your spouse or your significant other in a way that they ain't never been done before to keep them from looking anyplace else for it. And
yes,
eat healthy as you can,
don't
and
forget to keep their attention by looking a certain way too,
yeah,
like
that too. That and don't ever go outside with a bonnet on or your slip showing. Don't do that because that's just low class. That's for me. Been part of the problem.
yes. I'm gonna shut my door so you won't hear this talking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I hope you can cut that part out. Even though that's what you're trying to relay. But my partner has his dog here today, and he was playing with his son and got a little
Excited,
excited.
but but
So,
but but
yeah,
I love this. Like, this is amazing for me
thank you.
because
Yes. So you heard the phone ringing. It was the young lady coming to pick up food because we do a food pantry
mm,
out of Empowered to Stand Health Services, because we want to be able to be a blessing to the community. So I didn't want her to leave or
absolutely.
couldn't find her. So
Absolutely. So one of the things that I want to talk about as we talk about the work that you do and the community engagement that you do, most of the things that I have found in working with Black women in the community, it is many times you all become the things that you wanted to see. When I was little, I wish somebody had done this for me, and now in an effort, and it's so funny for many of you all that I've seen, that it is as you all are looking for that thing, you actually end up becoming that thing. So was that just your story, or did the focus on empowering women come from someplace else?
I would say yes and no.
Okay.
So yes to the fact that I started out working with youth, empowering minds of Maryland's youth, because of me being bullied as a child.
Mhm.
And as close as my mom and I were, I still didn't feel comfortable with sharing that with her. So going through that ordeal, it affected my self-esteem,
Mhm.
and just understanding how not only it affected my self-esteem, but it also had an effect on me wanting to attend school and
Mm.
me wanting to even get good grades in school, because I had that low self-esteem. So, when you have that, sometimes things, you think about things differently and you prioritize things differently.
Mhm.
And once I got old enough, once I got in high school, it changed. Something like clicked. And it was like, wait a minute, you're beautiful. Wait a minute, you're powerful. So I started standing up to bullies for other people who were being bullied. And then
Mm.
when I, of course, graduated, my teacher sent home a book to me. And in the book, she wrote that I was destined to work with children. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not working with no kids. You don't make money as a daycare provider or as and so just going through life, I started this mentoring group, Grassroots. And as I started the mentoring group, I said, God kept coming to me in his dream and in my dream telling me like, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to talk about. And I was like, no, I don't even want to stand in front of people, let alone in front of So long story short, I started the nonprofit. The second part of that was growing up with my mom and my brother. We always was doing volunteer work, always volunteer work. So it's almost like second nature to me. Like if I just don't understand why people see someone in need and feel and don't want to help. That doesn't register with me. So as you can tell in all three of my organizations, it starts with empowering, empower, because that's a big part of something about who I am and how I was raised. And just watching my mom always give, sometimes when she didn't have to give to help somebody else. And because of that, I am who I am now, the woman who wants to always give back.
So one of the things that you I really appreciate you sharing, because it is this commonality among Black women. It's like you talked about being isolated and bullied and not having people there to help support your self-esteem, and you turned around and in an effort to heal yourself, you created opportunities to heal others. And I also want the audience to really anchor in on the fact that you didn't start your fighting back on your own behalf. It was you started fighting. You started standing up to bullies.
Yes,
Exactly. But you see what I'm saying? But that is I think, I think it's a combination. This is my opinion, between nurture and nature for Black women. But I think some of those lessons, and I want your feedback on this, some of those lessons are the same ones that keep Black women under other people's boot. This idea that your engagement and your support to somebody else is your value means that a lot of times people don't value you unless, at least what I've seen, they don't value you unless you're doing something for them. You don't have, it's like they don't treat you like you have value by yourself. Is that not part of your experience?
Oh, you hit the nail on the head 100%. Unfortunately, not only if you're not doing something for them, or if you're not in a certain group, or if you're not a politician, or if you're not an well-known person, then it's sort of like maybe I'll help, maybe I won't. Sometimes people come to me and ask for help after the fact, and they're like, I see that you're doing such great work. And I'm like, really? I didn't even think you noticed, because when you had the opportunity to help support, you don't. But now that you need my help, then you're coming. So of course we're going to always help. We help everyone. We never turn anyone away. But it's sad how we as a society, like I said, when you see that someone is in need, we don't feel that need for them. Because could you imagine us creating like this Black Wall Street? When there's a need, we take care of it. We feel that need immediately.
So I agree, but I think what happens is that we do that naturally until when we are just being normal Black people. And the example I use all the time is the cookout. Nobody in the family got enough money. Everybody been hungry a couple times this week, but that cookout pool or that birthday party, lit. And everybody's full, like taking plates home and everything when everybody's broke. It's because we didn't spend money. It wasn't like, well, how much did you spend on your potato salad? But versus how much did I spend on my greens? And you got to bring this much. It's not that. It's all just love. But when we move away from just being love, just being Black people loving each other, to commodities, to money, to power. Because my opinion is the capitalist society that you're talking about, that's based on your position, your money, your power. That's not for us. We have excelled in it. Don't get it twisted. But that's not love. That's not a cookout.
Right.
That's when we put on our mask and like, yes, how much is the income going to be on this and that? And the other side is when we get home, like, oh, what's up, Knicole? How you doing? It's like we don't get to be that relaxed person and and my experience has been, especially Black women, because even at the cookout, you got to make sure everybody ate.
Yes. Before you eat.
Right. How you going and the expectation is how Knicole gonna sit down and eat her plate when her husband and her kids haven't eaten yet? What kind of woman is she? A hungry one. Nobody said
but it's crazy because we don't even see it that way. When you have something, you make sure not only your husband, your children, but then your friends, family, like everybody else is taken care of. And then, and so that's one of the reasons why I always promote self-care so much, because of that whole self-esteem factor, and because of the importance of us as a Black woman and all the hats that we wear. You have to take that time out for self-care if you want to be around, to continue to help take care of your loved ones. It's almost like when you ride on the airplane and they tell you have to put that mask on yourself first.
I love that example. I love that. I'm sorry. I love that example. That is go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's the best example, because you're no good to that to whoever you're trying to put that mask on if you're suffocating yourself. So that's why you have to put that mask on yourself first, and then you can do others. And we have to keep reminding ourselves that, because it's like our humanly instinct just pops in. And I think even outside of Black mother, just women period is automatically like that, but Black women is something different. We're wired a little different.
Nope, not wired. I got to give you pushback on that.
Okay, not wired. What's the word you want to use?
I don't think it's wired. I think it's you've been trained. Because I remember when I was little, literally, I remember this. I was told to get out the kitchen because I was messing stuff up, and my sister was told to stay in and clean it up.
Oh, okay.
And so it's training. It is, did you make sure, check on your brothers, check on your sister, but check on. You come in and help me with this.
Yes.
And it is this idea that gets baked in. Actually, Bill Cosby used to tell this joke. And he talked about making his wife woke him up to go make breakfast for the kids. And he went downstairs. The kid was like, still tired or whatever. The kid said, "Can we have chocolate cake for breakfast?" And he was like, "Well, chocolate cake has eggs, milk, flour. It's like pancakes." And they were celebrating, and his wife came down, and she was furious and told him, "Get out of here," and he never had to make breakfast again. Because somebody had to be the adult, and it's like a game of chicken a lot of times.
Right.
It's like, all right, because I will watch my underwear stay in a corner and not right beside the hamper, and I'm okay with it. Because until I need that, it's cool for me. But you were going to sit there and look at like, just pick it up and put it in there. Chicken, you lose.
But I think that's what make it fair game, is the ability to have different people having different roles. That's what equals out the level playing field. Because if you don't, it's almost like, we teach our children, you want to grow up and have this type of business. You want to be a lawyer. What do we tell them? We want to be a lawyer, a teacher, and a doctor. But guess what? We need engineers. We need entrepreneurs.
Plumbers. I need somebody to stock the shelves. That's what we found out during the pandemic.
Yes.
The dude who stocked, I don't give it. The CEO ain't do nothing for me when there was a shortage. But that dude who showed up at 6 o'clock in the morning, sprayed hand sanitizer and stocked the shelves, he helped me feed my family.
Right. How about that? And that truck driver that brought the food to.
Come on.
Yes. We all play a valuable role. And I think as a whole, if we celebrate everybody for who they are, everyone is not going to be in our, that doctor, teacher, lawyer, but let's celebrate the people for who they are and what they contribute, and maybe we would have a better world.
I absolutely agree with that, because I think to your point, when we start trying to imagine who people can be, we don't love them for who they are.
Right.
And when I did a show on relationships and I did another show on co-parenting, and I tried to be honest that what was one of my biggest problems when I was married. It's like I knew what our family should look like, how many pictures we should have, and where our social standing should be, that I was so focused and they weren't with it. And I was like, what's wrong with you? Think about that. Like, what's wrong with you? Because the story in my head, y'all not trying to live with. But I find that happens on Black women all the time. And what one woman said it best. She said, we're expected to work like we don't have kids and raise families like we don't work. Like I was saying, excellence in everything when nobody else has to be expected. How do you navigate all of those roles? Because like we saw earlier today, and then we'll talk to you about Luke using some of that clip later. Because when I tell you, like, I wish I could have scripted that.
Yeah,
like,
the whole time we talk
they might not even know what we're talking about. They might not even see what we're talking about, but we're going to talk about that later. But how do you navigate through all that?
You know, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I'm going to say, but God, you know, and for me, I start my day very early. I just started, you know, really investing in my health by starting to work out. So the first thing I do before I even get up is I read my Bible and pray. I get up, get ready to go exercise 5 days a week. I come back, shower, and get ready for work. And in the midst of that, my daughter has come and let me know she's leaving to go to college. And then she'll let me know that, you know, she's gotten back. My husband lets me know when he's leaving for work. I make sure that he has everything that he needs. Do we, you know, so we wear so many hats, and I guess I don't have to script out my life because so many other people understand that grind. And the only thing I can think of that keeps me going are a couple of things. One, I do what I'm passionate about. You know, I have a quote: being fulfilled is finding your passion, leading it to your purpose, and walking it out in your pumps. And, you know, we as women, and I have a whole, you came to my conference. You did a workshop at my conference that we named Passion, Purpose, and Pumps. And, you know, I feel like it's so important for you to find something you're passionate about, because then it's not work. So when I'm up in the middle of the night doing something and my husband's looking at me like, really, that's, you know, that screen light. And I'm like, okay.
You're doing a little bit. What you doing?
It's not work. I love helping others. So in all of the areas I've selected, or maybe it was ordained for me, I've always enjoyed what I do. You know, my kids, spending time with my husband and my children, that was a choice, and I love doing it. And so, you know, I'm able to pull in that role. So I try to do things that I enjoy doing, and it's not difficult. So I find time, and my friends and family have a running joke like, when I die, then I'll finally stop running. So they feel like I'm
sleep when I'm dead.
They say that I'm always on the go, and they know that if you invite Knicole and she says she's coming, she's going to be there. And if she's not there, you send out the search guard, the police, because something is not right. So all of the roles that I do, I always try to do it to the best of my ability. But I always make time. I just feel like with time management, you can make time for whatever's important to you.
All right, so I am going to suggest my opinion that that idea is one of the ones that has been toxic to Black women. Because the reality is that there are 168 hours in a day, period. I mean, in a week, period. Period. Like, no matter how you organize it, you still going to count 1, 2, 3, 168. And what my belief is, and what I've seen, is that we use this idea to hold Black women up to a standard that doesn't actually make sense. We give you 180 hours a week, and them like, damn, she couldn't even get all that done. And that's why, for me, it's like your best is your best, and you don't have to prove that to anybody else. That there's a side of us that lives internally, and a side of us that engages the world. And unfortunately, the world brings their metrics in. Sometimes we take those metrics to evaluate ourselves internally, forgetting that we're good people if we're not paid people.
That's good. That's good. That's good information. Um, but like you said, it goes back to my training. I was always trained, if I'm going to clean up, if I'm going to pick up this piece of trash in my, if I'm going to clean up this trash in my office, then I got to make sure that I do it to the best of my ability. That's what my mom always taught us.
Right.
I don't care what the task is, you always do it to the best of your ability.
Wait, let me see if you got this. If a task has once begun, never leave it till it's done. Be the labor, great or small, do it right or not at all. Did they ever drop that one on you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because I was like, wait a minute, you sound like you paraphrasing a nursery rhyme. I see you. But again, I don't know, but it's just what I've seen, especially because there was because of some of the professional work I've had to do, I've had to study people who abuse and study how they inflict trauma in order to help understand how to heal it. And one of the things that I have found about abusers is that they hold standards for their victims that can never be achieved. That's why you have these beautiful women with black eyes, like, oh, I'm just glad I'm with him because wouldn't nobody else want me anyway. These wonderful people who give so much because they have been convinced that if you can't meet this unattainable standard, you ain't worth nothing, and you just lucky to have me. And that's one of the, and I get the difference. I think I understand the difference between having a value that I do my best and being exploited to be left in place. But I always want to make sure that we distinguish that, because I don't want anybody to listen to you and be like, oh, see, he was right because I should be able to get it done because Knicole could get it done. And he
absolutely not.
He was on the screen looking at her. I just want to be like her.
Listen, it depends on the person, the individual, and what they have.
Say that again. Say that again.
It depends on the person. Everybody is an individual. Everybody is uniquely made, and we can't, that's why I almost don't like that whole like categorizing type of thing and wanting to put this person in this category and this person in this, because we're all different and we all are special and we all have our own unique talents and abilities, and the things that work for Knicole might not work for the next woman.
Exactly. But I think it's really important, and I'm again very grateful for you to you for coming on and telling the story, because what I also want people to understand is that your life may not look like theirs, but your life works for you. And that's one of the beauties of Black women, is that for every one of you all, there's a whole different life. And I think, to your point, if we could just start listening to you all individually, and not just, well, I have a Black woman friend and she says Black women like this, so you know what, all of y'all get treated like I treat, because I love her, I love how she is, and I do my best for her. So I'm gonna treat all of you all like her, or I'm gonna treat you all like my mother. Your mother wasn't a good person. What are you talking about? Like, your mother was a jerk. I'm not your mother.
Right.
Sorry, I get worked up about certain things. I'm in therapy, and it's okay. The meds are helping.
It's okay. And while you say that, let me just say, can I just put a plug in, is that therapy is okay. So some of my friends, I have encouraged, with me being in the mental health field, I have
tell them about before you go on, tell them your credentials, that you're not just talking about this because you read an article. Go ahead, tell them who you are, what you do.
So I do have I'm a co-founder of Empowered to Stand Health Services, which is a psychiatric rehabilitation program. And I'm a current graduate with my bachelor's in social work.
Big ups to the social workers in the crowd.
Yes. I love my social workers, because we have a different heart, and our heart always stands out, because we're always going over and beyond for our clients. So definitely big outs to the social workers. But what I was going to say, therapy is so important. Like, in our community, it's stigmatized as a bad thing, or you can't say that you have a therapist. Like, no, don't tell anybody. Where in other communities, they'll be like, oh, I have a 9:00 meeting with my therapist. Is that okay? And it's fine. Like, and they tell people, yeah, and it's okay. And we have to let people understand and know that it's okay not to be okay. And, we put people in these categories, and then they feel like, therapy is just not the category. I can't need
Those
therapy,
people,
but
it's for crazy people.
yes,
Or,
but
like ain't nothing happened to me. Like I ain't been raped or nothing. I ain't been brutalized. Nobody's beating on me. And it's like, dude,
what one
like
of my friends
you
told me.
shouldn't get there. Therapy can help you from getting there.
Exactly. And therapy helps you to cope with whatever you're dealing with. And how about this? Identify what you're dealing with, because sometimes we don't know what we're dealing with. We don't understand that, that the issue that we went through with our step parent, or the issue that we went through with a friend, caused us this trauma. Right. That later on becomes baggage in our marriage, and now is affecting our marriage because it was never dealt with back then. So like, it's so many different things that can be uncovered during therapy, and they give you the tools to deal with it and to cope with it and to understand your triggers when you're going through. So it's so important for us it's okay to seek therapy. I was trying to get one of my friends to go to therapy, and she said, well, you're my therapist. And I said, I can't be your therapist. Number one, I don't have the credentials, but I have the experience, but I don't have the licensure for it. I said, so you need to go to someone who can, and then within therapy, our code of ethics, we can never, practice therapy on, that's a conflict. So, so I just say that to say, like, it's okay to go to therapy. One of my friends, I was trying to encourage them to put a loved one into therapy. They were getting older and just going through some things. And, it was like every excuse in the book why the person didn't need therapy. And, but, later on it was revealed that they did need therapy. Absolutely. And it's okay. Let me say it one more time. It's okay.
So let me give you a tip to know if you need therapy, if you actually absolutely need therapy. If someone asks you if you need therapy and without considering it, you say no, you absolutely need therapy. Because because if you don't realize that something might be wrong, just to talk to somebody, that's a problem.
And I laugh, not to laugh at anyone. I'm laughing because I've seen this happen time and time again. And we, make up every excuse in the book why not to go to a therapist. And you don't want to get to the breaking point. You don't want to get to the point where, you're on the cuff of having suicidal ideations and contemplating taking your life. We want to stop
homicidal ideations. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of those right now. People are killing other people. A lot of the violence is because of the trauma, unresolved trauma. I am angry, and you all have hurt me, and I'm going to come out and blast everybody.
I could do a whole show just about.
We're gonna come back in April and talk about that because I realized we've been talking about that in the production meetings, like. Trying to there's so many things that we have as a platform that we can address, and one of them we're just looking at how to put the week together. We're going to try to probably do it around the ceasefire weekend. Okay. So we're trying to do that as a larger celebration about just talking about the real causes of violence.
Because how about not only the causes of violence, but no child is born with a gun in their hand, right? Woo! So a person in their environment, things become so normal. We create this normalcy in them that they think that this is a normal behavior. Okay. Yes. And then, so if you're not taught certain things, you don't know. In certain communities, you're taught that when you finish with something, you just throw it on the ground. As small as
there are people who are hired to do that.
Now, where I grew up, Northeast Baltimore, you better not throw nothing on the ground, because if you throw it on the ground, somebody has called your mother to tell your mother, and your mother's getting ready to tell you to go back and pick it up.
And I'm going to hit you when you get back.
Yes.
Because you out here embarrassing me. But this is one of the challenges that I've seen in working with Black women in that way, is that we train Black women as a society through punishment and embarrassment. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, look at, like, one of the worst things I've ever seen done to a Black woman is a vicious rumor, like literally destroyed her entire life, and she hadn't done anything. And so I think between that expectations of perfection and not being able to focus and identify the value of self and those bullying, that we train you all we control and train you all through embarrassment. You don't want to be that way.
The embarrassment goes even as far as political, like, most of you know that my sister-in-law is the state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby. And so some people would be like, oh, why are you mentioning that? She going through, because I stand with her. Right. And I think not enough women stand with her. And if any woman looks at what's going on today and really read and understand what's going on, once you look into it, then I think that puts a whole nother spin on it. And the thing is if we continue to allow them to not only do this to my sister-in-law, but to all the other women they're coming after, then guess what? Nobody's going to want to step up to be that.
That's why nobody is stepping up now. Because guess what? You can make more money in corporate America and nobody's in your personal business. And so, I wasn't going to ask you about your sister-in-law, your other family, because I'm here to talk about you as a Black woman. But you do bring up an interesting point that you can't be a Black woman in isolation. Like the things that are happening to her, and we've told, I've disclosed that I am a fan of your sister-in-law, but it's a job. She's one of my best employees. I like the direction she's taking it in. If she's not doing well enough, I'm going to hire somebody else.
That's right.
But I think that's the way that it should be.
But if you listen to the community is standing with her.
Yes.
Now, if you listen to a specific media sector.
So let's be clear. Let's be clear. You don't got to say it. If you listen to things like the Baltimore Brew, if you listen to who else? Fox 45. And it's, again, I'm not even putting you on the spot. You don't got to do that. This is my show. I take care of that part. But my thing is that let's not pretend that this is not more than it is. Like, this is an attack on her specifically. Some of this is a lot of this is Black woman. But more of it is, how dare this little light-skinned Black woman come and tell powerful police that they need to be held accountable? We're going to show her in every one of these little...
That is the bottom line right there. You hit it on the head. And so
how dare you
understand, because they told her, no, you are not to go after them. And because she went after them, they're coming after her. And we have to be smarter and understand that we have to stand with her and say, look, we're not going to allow you to come after her. And see, the more people that stand up and say that, and not hide behind their roles, I'm going to be honest with you. It's so many people that I really respected and have lost respect for, because they have organizations and platforms and they're not taking a stand.
Well, let's be clear. Let's talk about. See, you didn't. Ooh, you got me looking at my time now. I'm like, and I think this is again another critical point in the conversation about Black women. It is that when there is a choice of stories to choose in your head about them, we tend to choose the negative.
Yes, and without the facts. Now, mind you, they raided her office. Yeah. They investigated and did
all the pastors in Baltimore,
interviews with churches she went to, her hairstylist, babysit, like anybody they could get their hand on. What can we find on her?
I'm sorry, real quick. Did they find Trump's taxes in her stuff though? Did they find those? Because I know they've been looking for those for a few years, and since they moving on stuff, did they find those in her stuff? Because she might have.
And let's mention he done left office and they still don't have him yet. But so you should come after somebody for taking money out of their own 401k, money that not the community put there, but they put there.
Watch this even worse because I've been following this a little bit. It is. I don't have as much detail as you do, but from my perspective, looking at it legally and externally, it's not only that it was her money, it was that the way that it's being presented, or the things that I've read, is that it was her money And she made a claim that she had taken COVID losses. But if you honestly, I only know
Who
two
in the world
that did not take COVID losses no matter what. And if you have a real, and so again, I'm not defending her, but my thing is when you have a choice, there's a whole lot of stories out here, especially because we're this early. And I am concerned. I think is emblematic of the treatment of Black women, because Matt Gaetz said what? I'm sorry, when you're flying underage white girls across state lines with your homeboy who's a tax collector who has scammed and started wearing guns and stuff into his tax collection office, and he was Venmoing chicks, underage girls for sex. Venmo, yo.
Listen, there is a FBI agent who there's an FBI agent, a former FBI agent that's been speaking pretty clearly about this subject. And they said that this is not the first time it's happened, and typically was done, because they used to investigate these crimes, typically was done is they would reach out to the person and say, fix this, not indict them.
No, that's the way
The
it's
only
always
difference
done.
is, you know what the difference is that we have an election coming up. So we can't be bought by what they're trying to feed us. We have to see.
And it's not being about bought. And this is the thing that I hate that they do to you guys. Well, Black people in general. They target to make it just look nasty. It's not that Hillary's emails is a great example of this. Like, Hillary's emails was the thing that knocked it for whatever. And I never understood the intricacies of it, because they never said anything happened with it. But they were so pissed at Hillary's emails that she became the litmus test of her inability to be commander in chief. But this Bama took 15 boxes of classified documents to Mar-a-Lago, and that again, the distinction: Hillary's not Black, but when I saw that they hired
women, period.
If they elected Barack Obama, they elected Barack Obama and not Hillary Clinton. And I was like, I did not know America hated women more than Black people in general. And that's what it is. And so Black women get like, you're Negra and a woman. Yeah.
And it's someone else, but I can't think of her name because we're talking about it, that they were targeting, and there's other states attorneys that they're targeting, trying to discredit them as well. So we just have to be smart and do our homework and really look and say, like, is this person an asset? Are they really helping our community? Are they putting in the work? Because at the end of the day, like you said, we vote them in. So if they're doing the work, just like, I'm going to end it with that, but it's so much more I could talk about that I'm not going to talk about, but because I have to be careful about what I say. But
absolutely, but so let's get back to talking about you.
Yes,
because we talking about you specifically as a Black woman. Okay, let's go back to you.
That's a role that I wear. Listen, you have to understand, like, when you come after, and it's not just because she's my family, because honestly, I wasn't a Pew supporter, but I said the way they came at the Pew was not right. I did not vote for Pew, but when the way they came after her, it wasn't right. And I took a stand on Facebook and shared my view with people. So that's why I said, like, we have to stand together. We have to let people know, like, how we feel, and let them know there's strength and power. Like, if we didn't see it no other time, when Dr. Martin Luther King was living, he was able to get things changed because we came together as a people.
We don't even have to go back that far. When everybody in Baltimore came together around the murder of Freddie Gray, when everybody in the world came together around George Floyd, when we come together, there is power. And that is why the powers that be hate the coming together.
Yes.
Because when we realize that you and I, me and anybody else who makes, let's say, two people who make $30,000 a year, have way more in common than anybody else, their same race, same gender, that makes $300,000 a year. You literally don't even eat the same food. You know what I mean? Like, you are, right. But because the ones who have $300,000 a year keep the ones that have $30,000 a year fighting. So they never really understand, like, yo, we could work together. And actually, they got 300, maybe 100, 150 is good for them, and we can get up to 75, and everybody's better. But while you still fighting over your 30?
Exactly.
So
come on now, you hit You got my bells going. I'm really ready to go a whole nother way, man.
But I want to make sure there's one thing that we touch on before we wrap up, because I know we
Okay.
want to be respectful of your time. We talked about self-care, and you talked about how certain rituals and routine, like your morning ritual, is part of your self-care. Just so every morning, you know, there's something that gets done. Talk to me a little bit about how it feels and your success asking other people for help.
I have learned to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't
How
easy.
well?
How well have I learned?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not as well as I should have.
Okay.
I'm working on it. That's a work in progress. That's
But
probably
you
one of
talk
my
about that, though.
weaker
Like, how does it
areas.
feel?
That's one of my weaker areas because I've always been taught to, you do it yourself, and now I'm learning that it's okay for us to ask for help. It's okay to, and not only am I learning it, but I'm trying to teach others now too, so that we can all, be able to walk in victory, because there's room at the table for us all.
Like,
There's
so
a
long as
quote
other
that I
people
say.
don't hog the space.
Exactly. And I just believe, like, there's a quote that I always say and have adopted as a motto for my Empowered Women in Business International, which is, individually we can do great things, but collectively we can forever change the world. And it's a quote by Nick Mosby, but I took it and I adopted it to our Empowered Women in Business International. Could you imagine a world where we all came together always to help each other?
That'd be beautiful.
Yes. And that's what I feel that God has intended for us. And I think that sometimes when we have things like COVID, is to sit us down to think about those things, to rethink about where you're going in life and who you are and how you can do better and be better and how you can help your neighbor. And if we decided to come together to create this, this powerful being of us helping each other, what a world this would be to live in. And it would make it easier for each and every one of us.
Amen and absolutely. This is, I love these shows. Like, and I say often that I do them for my goddaughters or whatever, but like each one, I learn so much, and I feel like I grow each time. But before we let you go, I want people to know how they can give you money. I want them to know how they can support your nonprofit. If they need the rehabilitation, the psychiatric rehabilitation support, how can they get you there? And if they're a woman who wants to take their business to the next level, how can they get you there? Tell them everything about you.
Okay. So empower, and if you're looking for a mentoring group for your young ladies, or we also offer a variety of services, everything from suitcase drive for foster care youth to a leadership academy retreat. You can visit us on our website at www.empoweringyouth.usa.net, empoweringyouth.usa.net. If you would like to reach out to us, if you are a woman in business or a professional who is looking for a sisterhood of women, us supporting us, you can visit our website at www.ewbiradio.org. And if you are looking for psychiatric therapy, or just a therapist, or needing wraparound services, we also have a food pantry. You can visit our website. We don't have our website up yet. It's still under construction, but you can visit us on social media at Empowered to Stand HS.
Sweet, 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 sweet. We'll make sure that everybody know how to get there and get to you, because you are doing wonderful work in the community and for the populations that you serve. So, like, thank you so much for what you do, and also thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to another invitation to come back and talk with you.
You consider it a standing one. You let me know when you're available. We make it happen again.
Okay, sounds great.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Man, I tell y'all all the time, I know dope people, don't I? I say that all the time, and I prove it every time. Brought you another dope person I know. Thank you so much, Knicole, for just dropping the words of wisdom and really helping women see, particularly my God babies, helping them see that you can be you. You can be passionate and you can be everything that you choose to be. Recognize that there will be those factions of the world that come after you just because you are you. But your sisters will be there for you. Just remember that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thank you so much for your time and attention, and we will be Black tomorrow.